Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, I'll be going over the active severe weather with very large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes possible through the rest of this week. Then we'll be talking about flash flooding concerns, especially across the middle and lower Mississippi River Valley, and how much rainfall you can expect through the rest of this week. And then we'll be looking longer range at another cold blast expected for late April into early May. We'll get those details later on in today's video. But if you guys are not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, now is the time to subscribe. If you like detailed weather breakdowns each and every morning at 9 a.m. on this channel, I detail North America, including southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics here on this channel. So be sure to press the subscribe button. And it's also very important to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below. It helps to get all of this valuable weather information out to as many people as possible. So I definitely appreciate all of the likes out there. But going into today's weather forecast, we got the warm frontal boundary that'll start to retreat farther up here toward the north through the day today. And we also have a cold front developing back across portions of the plains. And that's going to be moving slowly to the east over the next couple of days, including today. And ahead of the cold front, we're going to be seeing dew points back up into the 50s and 60s, all the way up into Iowa, getting into Missouri here, western Illinois, and then those higher dew points in the mid 60s down into portions there of eastern Kansas, eastern Oklahoma, into North Texas through this afternoon. And what this will do is yield some moderate to strong instability values. Anywhere you see the oranges or reds here, that's where we're talking at least 2,000, if not 3,000 joules per kilogram, or convective available potential energy here needed for thunderstorms and severe weather today. And the Storm Prediction Center does have a level 2 of 5, a slight risk for severe storms across Iowa, especially there in the Des Moines area, back toward Omaha, getting into southeastern Nebraska, northwestern portions of Missouri, including the Kansas City region, getting down into Kansas here, including Topeka and Wichita, Kansas, and then sliding its way south and west into western and central Oklahoma, down toward the Fort Sill and Lawton, Oklahoma region. And even that marginal risk does extend down into central Texas, just west of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex this afternoon. And looking at what these storms could bring to the table, well, damaging winds up to 60, perhaps 70 miles per hour is possible, especially in this yellow shaded color across parts of the Midwest and the Central Plains. And we have a significant hatched hail risk across portions of southeastern Nebraska, getting into central Kansas, including the Wichita region, all the way southward here into central portions of Oklahoma, near the Oklahoma City area, Fort Sill, Lawton, Oklahoma. These are the areas we'll be watching out for those golf ball type of hailstones or larger as we go through the afternoon and evening. And we also have a pretty robust threat for tornadoes. We have a 5% shading for tornadoes up here in the tri-state area, and definitely going to be watching that. And then that moves farther south and west into northeastern Kansas as we go through today. Even a 2% shading of an isolated tornado or two down into central Oklahoma as well. So looking at the setup, 1 o'clock this afternoon, not too much going on. We got a couple storms up here north of the warm front, posing the risk for some smaller hail in southern Wisconsin, but most of the warm sector is capped off. We have a capping inversion, and what that means is there's a shallow layer of warm air aloft that prevents a lot of the thunderstorm activity from firing off this afternoon, and that really continues largely through the 4, even 5 o'clock time frame. And again, it's due to this capping inversion. It's going to be very strong here across much of the Missouri Valley, the Illinois Valley, and then back across the Central Plains this afternoon. But as we go into this evening, we're going to start to see the cap begin to erode across parts of this region, and what this will do is act to kind of initiate some of these storms early on this evening. This is 7 o'clock, just after dinner time, and we're starting to see some supercell thunderstorms back into western Iowa, southeastern Nebraska. These storms will be capable of producing some very large hail, over 2 inches in diameter, some damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, and perhaps even an isolated tornado or two. That will continue through the overnight hours, turning more into an organized MCS, or a mesoscale convective system here, much like we see through the summer months. This will transition more to a damaging wind threat, and then eventually to a heavy rain threat overnight. And we'll start to see this really continue to explode across the Missouri Valley and back into Kansas here through that 4 a.m. time frame. So this is well after dark and well after midnight. We have to be watching for some big hail producers out here and also some damaging winds and even tornadoes after midnight. So do have multiple ways to receive weather watches and warnings going through the overnight hours. And all of this continues on Thursday. The warm sector is still up here into the lower Midwest, the Ohio Valley, all the way south to the Gulf of Mexico. Very warm and humid air. Dew points will be back up into the 60s and actually farther north on Thursday with the 60-degree dew points into southern Wisconsin and parts of northern Illinois. Even those 50-degree dew points get as far north as central Wisconsin and up into Michigan Thursday afternoon. And we have a narrow zone we're watching of some moderate to even some stronger instability, with the strongest of the instability actually into eastern Texas on Thursday. And there's no surprise with the stronger instability across the south, the Arklatex and portions of East Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Little Rock, Jonesboro, and then down toward the Shreveport region in northwestern Louisiana. We do have a slight risk for severe storms. The marginal risk does extend farther up into the Illinois Valley, including Chicago and just outside the Milwaukee area on your Thursday. And again, much of the same, 60, 70 mile per hour damaging winds across the Mississippi Valley through the Arklatex and the Southern Plains. We also have a 15% hatched area for hail into eastern Texas, right near the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Tyler, Texas, College Station there, and north and west of Houston. That's where we're watching for the potential of 2-inch or larger hailstones. That's your golf ball size or larger going through your Thursday evening time frame, and a 2% shading there for tornadoes across the Arklatex and getting down into East Texas. Again, this does include the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Little Rock, Jonesboro, and then down into Shreveport area as well through that Thursday time frame. So timing it out on Thursday, 7 a.m., we got the ongoing MCS, mesoscale convective system up here across the Midwest. Again, some of this will fishtail its way down across the Kansas City region, waking up to some louder thunderstorms there on Thursday morning. That will weaken considerably as we go through the day on Thursday. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we got some rogue thunderstorms up here, probably not too many of them being severe, but as we get toward late afternoon now, 4 o'clock, we'll start to see reigniting thunderstorms along that cold front here from southern Wisconsin through the Illinois Valley, down across portions of the Arklatex and into East Texas. And these storms, with southward extent especially, will become severe, and that will start to trail its way farther to the south and east as we get through that Thursday evening time frame around 10 o'clock. But as we go into Friday, again, that cold front starts to shift farther off to the east. We got a new low pressure system that will be developing across East Texas and the Arklatex on Friday afternoon, and this will bring a renewed chance for severe storms again, this time across coastal Texas, into the Victoria area, getting down into Houston, Beaumont, and maybe over toward Lake Charles there in Louisiana, and even that marginal risk extending farther east there toward the Memphis area, Jackson, Mississippi, and New Orleans as we go through the day on Friday. But even though we don't have severe weather in some areas, we could be seeing heavy rainfall in other areas. So total rainfall accumulation from now through Friday here late this week will be pretty robust. We got a decent shot of 2 to 4 inches of rain anywhere in these purple and red shaded colors, with the bullseye down here into southern Arkansas with rainfall amounts near 4 inches there going through the rest of this week. Decent amounts of rain up into the upper Midwest, Wisconsin, getting into eastern portions of Minnesota, Iowa, and then down toward the Kansas City region. Those areas could see 1 to 2 inches of rain through the end of this week. And it looks like the flash flooding potential will be maximized with a marginal risk up here across the Midwest going through that Thursday morning time frame, with that MCS and that clustering of the storms overnight tonight into Thursday morning. And then much of the Mississippi Valley here from Wisconsin all the way down through Illinois and portions of the Mid-South will be seeing that marginal risk for flash flooding Thursday into Friday, with a slight risk extending here from the lower Missouri Valley back through central Arkansas, including Jonesboro, Little Rock, and then getting into northeast Texas just outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area, getting into Thursday and Friday. And then that pushes eastward across the lower Mississippi Valley with a slight risk for flash flooding Friday into Saturday. Looking at the snowfall prospects through the rest of the week, this goes all the way through the beginning of this weekend on Saturday, April 22nd. The heaviest of the snows will be mainly into southern Canada across southeastern Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba, and southwestern western parts there of Ontario, but definitely seeing some snow on the U.S. side of things as well across Montana, portions of North Dakota, northern Minnesota here, and far northern Wisconsin. Some of these areas may still have to shovel going through this upcoming weekend, so definitely be mindful of that, especially there in northern Minnesota, seeing a signal for over 6 inches of snow through that time frame. But like I said, that southernmost low pressure system that starts to develop in East Texas on Friday will move up across the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic on Saturday, and that will continue to move north and east on Sunday across the Northeast, bringing some soggy weather conditions for the weekend up here. And it's going to be bringing some more drenching rains across the mid-Atlantic. We got another 1 to 1.5 inches of rain across portions of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia, down through the Carolinas here into Ohio. And then that will spread even farther north and east, covering much of the I-95 corridor into portions there of New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, getting up toward the Boston region, New York City, Long Island. That will go Sunday into Monday morning, getting in toward later on this weekend. But behind this system, we're going to have a lot of northwesterly flow aloft. So this means we're going to be bringing down a lot of this cooler Canadian air starting on Friday. And this takes us all the way through the weekend into early on next work week on Monday, April 24th. And this will bring temperatures tumbling yet again. So on Friday, we're going to see temperatures across the northern plains and upper Midwest a good 15 to 25 degrees below average for this time of year. And that pushes farther south here as that cold front pushes farther south. Temperatures again 20, 25, 30 degrees below average on Saturday. And then that pushes even farther south as we head into this Sunday time frame on April 23rd with, look at this, guys, West Texas could be up to 35 degrees below average for this time of year across these areas. So definitely a shock to the system. And so looking at these temperatures, Friday this week, this is your high temperatures. Again, that cold front will be making it farther south. Ahead of that, temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Behind the cold front, we'll be back into the 30s and 40s in the upper Midwest and northern plains. Friday night, we bottom out into the teens and 20s for a widespread area here, the northern United States. And this brings the threat for some frost and freeze conditions, especially up here into the upper Midwest, where we're expecting that across the Dakotas, Minnesota, getting into northeastern Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, and parts of northwestern Illinois, but likely in that blue shaded color across most of the northern United States on Friday night. Then going into Saturday, we only rebound into the 40s up here. That's it. Mid 40s in Chicago, Milwaukee, Green Bay, up the Lake Michigan shoreline there. 48 degrees in Des Moines and only 47 up here into Rapid City on your Saturday. And again, more frost and freeze conditions on Saturday night into Sunday morning across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Ohio Valley, with temperatures back into the teens and 20s for lows, and even cooler down to the south as well, near 50 there into Oklahoma City for lows, 37 up here into St. Louis Saturday night. And again, we have a likely zone of some frost and freeze conditions for Saturday night on April 22nd, with it being expected across the eastern Dakotas, Minnesota, including the Twin Cities region, and then getting down into much of Wisconsin during this time frame. But then as we go into Sunday, again, much of the same, 40-degree highs yet again here. Just copy and paste this from Saturday into Sunday, and we'll be cooling off all the way down to the Gulf Coast, seeing 60s down here, a little cooler weather for this time of year across those areas. But if we look long range through next week even, so getting through next week, we're getting through Monday, April 24th through Friday, April 28th, and we do see a signal for below normal temperatures continuing across the eastern two-thirds of the country. A little bit of a ridge tries to develop across the desert southwest here. It will struggle at first, but then it starts to build a little more across the West Coast with above average temperatures getting into the last few days of April, getting into the opening days there of May across the West. But that colder temperature pattern will persist across the middle and eastern two-thirds of the country, going right straight through that Tuesday, May 2nd time frame. So buckle up, because it will be cooler, and you definitely have to bundle up going outside here, especially on those colder mornings, especially this upcoming weekend. But if you want daily weather forecast updates, additional updates here on Twitter, hit the description down below and follow me. My Twitter handle is hweather420. Again, additional weather forecast updates there as well. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Wednesday, everybody, a great rest of your week, and I will see you all in the next video.